Okay, we're going to write our first subroutine. Just to remind you, you should have the developer tab here. If you don't, you can look up on Google how to show the developer tab in Excel. And once you have it, you can open up the Visual Basics. I'm not sure if it's called Visual Basic Studio, but you can open up the code editor from here, or as they said, you can hit Alt and F11. I'll try that. Okay, so you get that. And then we added a new module, but mine seems to have disappeared, so I'll do it again. So I'll insert module, and here it is. And then I think we had option explicit, like that. So I'll just save this now, so that okay. So okay, one other thing is that you need to have a workbook which is not .xls xlsx. It has to be xlsm. So let me fix that and save this as a, you can't see this, but I'm saving it as an Excel macro enabled workbook. This one, like this. Okay? So now, hopefully if I save this, it's saved. So just like they say here, option explicit, and we talked about what that does. Okay, so here's our first program or subroutine, and it's very short. So right here we write private sub, and we give it a name, and the name that we're going to give it is this one. You could give it really any name, but we're going to give it this one. And this indicates that it ends here, so the whole program is only one line, and it's just this. So we just have to understand this one line. So to start writing a subroutine, we'll use the keyword private. Sometimes you can make it public, but we're going to make it private. You can not worry about that. And then sub to indicate that it's a subroutine and or a small program, and then give it a name with the brackets like that. And then you have to end it somewhere, so you end it here. And then, so here there's only one line. Okay? So we just need to understand this one line. So first of all, I could copy this, but you can't. But you can type it. It's not very long. It doesn't even want me to copy it. And I can put it into here, like that. Now it doesn't like this. It puts us in red because it doesn't know what this is. So this is another program we're going to have to write. So this line here is referring to another program, actually, because it has this in it. And it doesn't know what this is. So until we write it, it's going to complain. So anyway, we're going to write another program called Get New Data, another small program called Get New Data. And once we write that, then it will know what Get New Data is. So anyway, let's look at his description of what this does. The DoItAgain subroutine uses VBA's on-time method. Now, the word method basically means a function. We've discussed in our programming class the difference between a method and a function, but for just simple discussion, you can just think of it as a function. So there's a function that VBA has already built in that we can use called onTime. And the way that you access that function or refer to it is you have to put the word application in front of it. So we write application.onTime. Okay, the DoItAgain subroutine uses VBA's onTime method. And what does the onTime method do? It schedules the time when a procedure is run next. So we can use this basically to run some procedure whenever we want to. And the procedure we're going to run is this one, which again we haven't written yet, but we will. So once we write it, this will make sense and we're going to run it according to this formula. So now means the current time, the current day and time. And then plus means add to that, and this means 1 hour and 1 minute and 0 seconds. 1 hour, 1 minute, and 0 seconds. Okay, so we're going to run it. The next time we're going to run it is now plus an hour and 1 minute later. And what are we going to run? This is what we're going to run, this program. Well, we haven't written it yet, but we will. Okay, so the time is specified first using the fragment now plus this. VBA has a function named now that returns the current system date. In other words, now means, how does it know what now is? It looks at whatever computer this program is running on, it checks the clock on that computer. And so that's what it considers as now, and the time. VBA has another function called time value that converts a string to a time value. This is actually a string, right? String means like text. This is text because it has quotation marks around it. This is really not a time, it's just a string. But this can convert a string to a time value. So it converts a string to a time value. So you can put a string in here. In fact, you have to put a string in here, but it should look something like this. If you wanted to say 2 hours, you'd put 2 here. If you wanted to say 5 minutes, you'd put 5 here, and so on. So now plus time value of this gets the time as of right now and adds 1 hour and 1 minute and 0 seconds. The second argument, so this takes 2 arguments, takes 2 inputs, and we can see that there are 2 inputs because there's a comma here. I think we could put parentheses around this and this, and it would be clearer, right, that these are 2 different arguments if you put parentheses here and here, but I forget why actually, but you don't have to put parentheses around it, and he's not. But to make it clear, I think I would put parentheses here and here, and I think it should work. Anyway, so here's one argument to the left of the comma, here's one argument, and to the right of the comma is a second argument. The second argument to the onTime, as used here, is get new data, which is the code's main procedure. This is going to be the most important part of his function, but we haven't seen what it is yet. Its name must be enclosed in quotes. When used as an argument. So if you refer to it as an argument of some other function, then you have to have the name in quotes. The full statement instructs VBA. So what does this line do? It says, run this program at certain time intervals. The full statement instructs VBA to run the procedure named get new data 61 minutes after the onTime method is invoked. Okay, now he explains why he said 1 hour and 1 minute. So if you want to read that, you can, but I'm not going to bother. You can read this, though. He says he settled on 1 hour and 1 minute after some experimenting. He experimented with Amazon in terms of when they update their data. So you can read this, because you might want to consider this if you're doing a different site. You might want to consider how he thought about when he should update his system. Okay, now we still have to, as we saw, we're going to be talking about some subroutine called get new data. So we have to write that here. So let's look at that subroutine. The get new data subroutine. Here's the main procedure, get new data. So what is this subroutine or procedure going to do? It executes web queries. Remember, we have these queries, these web queries. That just means we're going out to the web and getting some data, copying the web page basically. It also obtains the sales rankings from that data and copies and pastes formulas that convert rankings to assumed sales figures. Remember that the rankings are not the same as sales, and he has this way of converting rankings to sales figures. So we're going to come back and do that in the next, or start that in the next video.